How to use Photoshop for photo editing. So hello everyone. So in today's video, I will show you guys on how to use Photoshop for photo editing. So without further ado, let us begin. So to start off, what we need to do is to create a file. So to create a file, what you want to do now is drag your mouse to this button right here that says new file and then just click on it. And then after that, you'll be redirected here. So from here, you will get to set the dimensions or the size of your photo. So when I scroll up over here, we can see different kinds of templates or sizes that we can choose for the size of our photo. So we have photo sizes, print sizes, art illustration, web, mobile, film, and video. So feel free to choose which one you like. So for me, I'll just use the default Photoshop size. And then from here, we can now change the settings of our pages. So we can change the width and height, so it's in centimeters, change the orientation, resolution, color mode, background contents, color profile, and pixel aspect ratio. So I'll just start off by just renaming it. So I'll just name this sample photo, and then feel free to edit out the details over here. And then once you're done, just click on create, and then there you go. After that, what we need to do now is to import our image. So to import image into Photoshop, what you can do is just click on import image right here, or what you can do is just drag and drop images to the Photoshop application. So for me, I'll use this one right here. So I'll just drag this into Photoshop and then just drop it here in the black canvas. Wait for it to load, and then there you go. Our image has now been imported in Photoshop. I'll just click on done right there, and then there you go. We can now start editing our image in Photoshop. So as you can see right here, our image does not fully fit in our blank canvas right here. So what we can do is just resize it just by clicking on these squares right here or on these nodes, and then we can resize that image. And then when I click on shift and then drag these nodes again, it will transform it like this. And then there you go. Moving on, I'll be covering the tools right here in the left side of Photoshop. So the first one right here is we have the move tool, or you can just click V on your keyboard. So basically what this does, it allows you to move your image along your canvas. There you go. Next is we have the rectangular marquee tool. So you can just click M on your keyboard to activate this tool. So basically what this does, it allows you to select parts of your image in a rectangular form. So like this one right here, I'll just drag my mouse across the dog. And then what I can do is just click on Control C and Control V on my keyboard. And then as you can see over here in the right side of our screen, we have a new layer. So when I click on this eye right here, it allows me to hide the image. So I'll just hide this image. And as you can see, we will now see the dog that we selected by using the rectangular marquee tool. And then let's just bring that back, and then let's delete this layer. Moving on is we have the lasso tool. It still does the same thing with the rectangular marquee tool, but what this does is you really need to draw it out along your subject. So as you can see over here, I'm just dragging my mouse around the dog. So I'll just drag my mouse around the dog. There you go. I'll just do a sample. This is not perfect. I'll just do it like this. And as you can see, the dog has now been selected. And then I'll press Control C, Control V again, and then it has made a new layer right here. When I hide that main layer, as you can see, it will now show the layer that I have selected using the lasso tool. I'll just bring this back and then delete this layer. So the next tool we have is the quick selection tool by this one right here, or you can just click on W on your keyboard. So basically what this does, it still allows you to select images in your or subjects in your photo, just like the rectangular marquee tool or the lasso tool. But what's different about this, it automatically selects the image for you. So for example, I will select this dog right here. So when I go to this two icons right here, the plus one. So this plus icon right here allows me to add images to the selection, while the minus one allows me to remove images for the selection. Since I want to add images to the selection, I will make sure that I'm using this plus icon right here. And then if I want to remove it, I'll be using this minus icon right here. So I'll use this plus icon. And then what I can do now is just drag this across the dog. So I'll just drag this across the dog just by long pressing the mouse and then just dragging it along the dog. Also include the ears right here, this part right here, and then there you go. And then when I click on Q, it will see the parts that I have removed. So this red part right here are the removed parts from my selection. So you can see right here, there are some spaces that need removing right here. So what you can do is use the brush tool. So just go to the brush tool right here, or just click B on your keyboard. And then to remove parts of your image, make sure that the color you are using is the black color. And then to add parts back to your selection, make sure that the color you are using is the white color. So for example, I'll remove this green background right here. So what I can do is just zoom in the image just by clicking on Alt and then by using the scroll wheel, and then I'll make sure that I'm using the black color right here. So I'll just color this out right here so you can see the red colors coming back. So this means that it's removing it from the photo. So I'll just color this out. And then what I can do is I can also resize the brush by going here, click on that. And then here I can adjust the size and the hardness. So I'll just increase the size for a bit. Let's say around 20. Go back to the photo and then let's just brush this out, and then there you go. So when I zoom out, as you can see, there are no more green spaces in my photo. So what I can do is just click on Control C and then Control V again. Whoops. I'll click on Q again to remove the red background, and then what I can do is just click on Control C and then Control V again, and then it will make a new layer. I'll just hide this, and then there you go. As you can see, it has removed the green background for my photo. It may not be perfect, but you can still do minor adjustments using the brush tool. It might take a while, but it will be worth it. Let's move on. So I'll just bring back the original photo and then just delete this layer right here, or let's just hide the layer, and then there you go. Let's move on to the next tool. Moving on, as we have the crop tool right here. So basically what this does, it allows you to crop out your photo. So for example, I'll crop this out right here, and then there you go. My photo has now been cropped. There you go. Next is we have the frame tool. So basically what this does, it allows you to create frames for your photo. So just click on this. Let's say I want to create a frame right here for my dog, or for the dog I mean. And then what you can do is go here, go to stroke, and then from here, make sure that you're using colors right here if you want to add a frame. So for example, choose black right here, and then from here we can now edit the stroke layer of our frame. So if I increase the stroke, as you can see, it's now adding a frame to my photo, and then there you go. Next tool we have is the eyedropper tool, or just click I on your keyboard. So basically what this does, it gets the color from your image. When I click on this, the eyedropper tool, and then just select this green background right here, as you can see here, it has now chosen the color that is similar with my background right here, which is this color right here. And as you can see over here in the bottom, as you can see, it also changed the color from my black to green. Next is the spot healing brush tool, or J from your keyboard. So basically what this does, it allows you to remove marks and blemishes from your photo. So if you have some imperfections on your photo, you can use this tool to remove the imperfections from your photo. Moving on, as we have the brush tool right here, which we just covered a while ago. So basically if you're using the brush tool by itself, you can now like draw stuff on your photo right here. So for example, I'll draw on this dog right here. This you can see, I can now draw stuff by using the brush tool. So to change the color of your brush tool, what you can do is just move on over here, and you can just drag around the colors right here. So for example, I'll make this into blue. So I'll just drag it. I'll drag this one to the blue area right here, and then just draw on my image right here. And then there you go. Moving on, as we have the clone stamp tool right here, or S on your keyboard. So basically what this does, it allows you to clone your image or a subject that you want to clone. So for example, I want to clone my dog right here. So what I can do is just move to a blank part right here on my canvas, and then just start dragging my mouse around. So as you can see, it will now start cloning the dog. So there you go. As you can see, it is now like cloning the dog, and then there you go. So next is we have the eraser tool right here, or E on your keyboard. So basically what this does, it allows you to erase stuff from your photo. So again, we can change the size right here of our eraser. So let's say we want to make it like 105 pixels, and then we can erase the dog right here just by dragging around your mouse, and then there you go. So as you can see, I can now erase the dog from my image. Moving on, so you have this gradient tool right here. So basically what this does, it allows us to add like gradient colors as a background to our image. So yeah, so let's do that. So I'll just hide the main photo right here, and then we will just leave it with the dog with no background, and then I'll just use this gradient tool right here. And then from here, you can choose the color you want for your gradient. So they have basic colors right here, blues, purples. For example, use this one right here. Go back to the canvas, and then what I can do is just drag this around to make a gradient. You can also edit that out, and then to show it behind the dog, what you can do is just drag this at the very back, and then there you go. As you can see, I have now added a gradient background to my photo. The next most commonly used tool right here is the text tool right here. So basically what this does, it allows you to add text on your image. So when I go to the top right here, I can change the font type right here. I can also change it to its style if I want to make it italic. You can also change the font size right here if you want to. You can also change the alignments right here, change the color, and a lot more. So let us try adding some simple text right here. So for example, I will use this font right here. So I'll just click on the canvas right there, and then what we can do is just type in some text like dog, and then what we can do is just change the color, try making it to red. There you go. Then what we can do is just drag this around, and then let's try to increase the font size for a bit, and then there you go. Next tool right here is we have the shapes tool or the rectangle tool right here. So when I right click on this rectangle tool right here, I'll get access to a lot of shapes right here, like the rectangle, the ellipse, the triangle, the polygon, the line tool, and you can also make custom shapes if you want to. So for example, I'll use the rectangle tool right here. So just make a rectangle right here beside the dog, and then there you go. I have now made a rectangle. So yeah, those are pretty much the basic tools that you'll be using in Photoshop. Now moving on, let us cover the blending options that we can do in Photoshop. So for blending modes, let's say I want to add a lens flare to my photo right here. So I have downloaded a sample of a lens flare right here. So what I will do is just drag it to Photoshop, drag it here, and then there you go. Just move it around. Then let's say I want to resize it, move it to the side a bit. And then when I go here to the blending options, from here I can choose any blending options I want. So you can choose dissolve, let's say multiply, darken, overlay, and a lot more. So for example, I'll use this blending option right here, which is screen. So it'll look like it will be part of the image. And then to remove like parts of this image right here, or to remove parts on our blending image right here, what we can do is just use the erase tool. Then from here, we can now adjust the size and the hardness of our erase tool right here, and then it will ask you to make this smart object must be rasterized. So just click on OK, and then from here we can now like erase parts of our blended photo right here to make it look a bit more realistic. So yeah, so feel free to experiment with that. Moving on, I'll be covering adjustments right here. So what I need to do, so basically what adjustments does, it allows you to change like the filter or like the color of your layer if you want it to be a bit more saturated and stuff like that. So what I want to do now is just to select a photo that I want to adjust. So let's say I want to adjust this one right here. So I'll just click on that, and then what I want to do is just go to adjustments right here, and then from here I can choose what kind of adjustment I want for my photo. So let's say I want to make it black and white, just like that. So all I have to do is just click on it, and then there you go. You can also edit the curves right here just by double clicking on it, and then you can edit it from there. And then after that, I'll be covering some additional like details or options that you could choose or you could do in editing your text. So I have a sample text right here, which is just dog. And then when I go to layers right here and then just double click on that text, as you can see, a lot of layer styles will come up. So you can edit these out. So you can like add contour to the text. You can also add a stroke if you want to, add inner shadows, inner glows, color overlay, and a lot more. So as you can see over here, there are lots of options that you can choose in editing out your text. And then once you're done editing your text, what you want to do is just click on OK, and then it will be saved. And then lastly, what we need to do now is once you're done editing your photo, let us now export our photo. So to export our photo, what you want to do is just drag your mouse right here to file, and then what you want to do is just scroll down until you see export. So there are lots of export options here that you could choose, so feel free to choose which one you like. So for me, I'll just export it as, and then from here you can choose what format you want for your photos. You can change it to PNG, JPEG or GIF, and then here you can edit the image size as well and the canvas size and a lot more. So feel free to experiment with those. And then once you're done editing out the details when you're about to export, just click on export right there, and then we'll ask you in where you want to save it. So for me, for example, I want to save it to the desktop, so just click on save right there, and then it will now start exporting. And then once it's done exporting, you will find it here in the area where you saved it. For me, it is the desktop. And then when I double click on the image, as you can see, it has now been exported with all the edits that I have done. So yeah, that is pretty much it on how to use Photoshop for photo editing.